So our next speaker is Dr. Satya Dash. Dr. Dash is the Chief Executive Officer of BITS.
BioCyTiH Foundation.
Thank you. And founding and former head strategy of BIRAC. He has played a key role in evolving biotech and medtech entrepreneurial ecosystem in India. As the founding head strategy of BIRAC and in charge head of IP, Dr. Dash was a part of the founding team.
I'll show it on my slides.
Okay. I was about to say that he has a vast experience, so I can't bring all that in. Thank you.
Thanks. I was measuring, everybody's taking 22 minutes. I'll give you 20 minutes. So that's the art of negotiating you have to learn all startups, right? I mean, I know I've been told 15 minutes, but I was measuring, and it's 22 minutes. I met some amazing people here. Dr. Iyer today. Shout out to a great friend here, Cypress Koyakar, there he is, and Rakesh, and the lovely smiling face of Anurag Meena. So that's good. I'll time myself so that there are 36 slides, 30 seconds for each slide. Kaam ho jayega. Okay, so great. Thank you, Siddharth and Devjani and Devangshi, Radhika, all the other volunteers. I met Sanjuti yesterday evening. So all of you putting together this fabulous place to bring people together to talk. I wear many hats. Some hats then I leave, but sometimes I love them. So I continue to mention them. For example, BIRAC. And also, like Surabhi Foundation, I work with Siddharth Kak and just do brainstorming about creative arts. Is it changing? Yeah, I'm a system integrator. I love technology of any kind, from EV to solar to what Mudrika was wonderfully saying. Oh, by the way, I also, hello to Savita here. She was wearing a mask, I couldn't recognize her. So, and Mudrika's talk was just wonderful. It just made me feel that, oh, how can be an undergrad? And she was teaching fundamentals in such a nice way. I've impacted 7 organizations, and this is the 16th city I'm living. So I'm a nomad. If I don't like anything, I just leave. And that's my philosophy. If I love something, I do it. And I do it in a very DBOT manner. I design, build, operate, and then transfer, and let the system take care of it. Slow. These are some of the things I've done in the last 12 years, 15 years, designing 17, 20 programs for the country. I loved it. And the love is because interaction with the innovators and startups, they are really the packets of energy. When I meet Anurag or Sai Prasad or many, many others, I just feel that they are really transforming society. And the attempt is amazing. Whether there is attempts, finally there will be a success or not, that is a different thing. But their attempt is pure and really with a vectorial energy that is unparalleled. Yeah, and so some of the stuff. But essentially, what my thought process has been because of all these people. Oh, why it's changing so much. And, all right, just 2 minutes, we still have 20 minutes. Yeah, I mean, my 15 years, 20 years of my life, I've just gained, absorbed one little bit from all these wonderful people. Some of them are not here. They moved, they passed away. Dr. Bhan, for example, what an amazingly wise person. He was very graceful, compassionate. Compassion is something that everybody should have. And as I grow old, I think that's what my word of choice is. So, including Subham, he was my team member, he reported to me. But what a wise person, he's now in Florida doing his grad school. And every time he'll, over the last 2 years, over WhatsApp and Zoom calls, he taught me a little bit of data science and some words that I should be knowing. Those kind of people, right? So, and yesterday, this is my third meeting at WRCB. I came in 2015-16. Pramod was at that time, and then later again. And this is the third one, so thanks again for inviting me. Yesterday, I took the chance and met some amazing people again, some friends, Poini, Rakesh, Rohit, and Anurag. And I saw the first Foundation Day mug in Rohit's office, and I thought, oh, that's brilliant. And of course, Chandy was there in the slide before. Every time I meet him, I learn something new. Even yesterday, we went for a walk, and he was telling me a few things that I absorbed. Right. Still, I have to go fast, if it allows me to go fast. And I sit on the board of Venture Center in Pune. Please go over. You know, Premnath runs it. He's an MIT PhD material science guy. IIT Bombay alumnus. He got an award recently as one of alumni awards that you give. Right. So, okay. This is what we did in BIRAC. All of you know. Really putting together from, if you wanted to test something, from to all the way to equity programs, right? But there is a lot happening now. What Anurag showed was amazing, because he didn't mention BIRAC, which means that now the system is is really evolving, where somehow something there has to be competition of a different kind, and this is great to see that not everybody is looking at the same source as well. Can that be made faster so that? Okay, I said values of death. Everybody, I mean, Arindam in the morning spoke very nicely about about values of death, and I really enjoyed that talk. Very structured way of thinking. This is similarly, are there one value of death, the multiples? What is it? Just think about it. You are in the red for a long period of your time, right? You do not, you do not maybe have revenues. If you have, the net cash flow is still in the red. But people do, walk through the death valley and come out. Chandy is here, and he's going to say, how he did it, and many others too. So it's not as if, this cannot be tackled. It can be, and there's other way to visualize it, which is this, right? So if you're building a product company, you're in the red. And if you have a proprietary product, the time you file, it starts ticking down. So you will have to really go fast. So in that case, how do you navigate the value of death? Is it just one? Are there multiple? The answer is yes, there are multiple, and I've taken a fantastic slide from one of your profs here, Ravi, in mechanical engineering. There are actually multiple values of death. So you cross one, and then you say, oh, ho gaya. And then you say, oh my goodness, another one I have to leapfrog, right? And then you start crossing each, and that's where perseverance, resilience, everything comes together. Will money solve it? Earlier, I used to say money was, the silver bullet. But actually, after 15 years, I think it's not the only thing. There are many other things that Anurag and others mentioned, which is very important. Why? Of course, because of these reasons. So parts of your technology, all of your technologies would behave laws of thermodynamics. But all the business doesn't behave laws of thermodynamics. That means people to people. And people are random. They are logical, illogical, mavericks. You got to deal with every kind of people. And that makes it even more nonlinear, right? And you think it's linear, but you are being buffeted by so many forces that your multiple futures are there, right in there, right? I don't want to spend too much time. I've been thinking about the next slide quite a lot. I can talk about it for half an hour, about ignorance, uncertainty, and manufactured futures. Now, manufactured future is an interesting term. It's almost You think I will do the product, ho jayega. Somebody said, I build the product, customers will be foolish not to buy it. And, and I've heard that many, many times over. I encourage you to read that paper. It's very nice. I won't mention, okay. So let's just move on. Okay, so big. And this is what it was. Few people coming together, getting the, trying to get the product ready. And there have been now 900 such, and many stories of impact. I think, you can Google any of them, Mayur or Gitanjali or Vinayak, diabetes, neuropathy. And that product, NeuroTouch, with the black thing of Yostra, it started as a clay model, right? And look at what it has done. Your IIT Bombay alumni, Mudit, for example, Doji, they've all taken products to the market, including on the left bottom, Mainak. It's not diagnostic, but as an NIT graduate, he's probably built Asia's largest solid waste management plant in Indore, just recently inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister. So all these have started from that little experimentation at big. And Mudrika was talking about antibiotic resistance, susceptibility test. This guy, Sachin, and his co-founder, I spoke to him. He's in Jaipur today celebrating some family occasion. And he's been funded almost 4 million trying to build these products and take it to the market. And again, I'm trying to route it to what Arindam said in the morning. How do you clinically test it? Who's going to design things for you? Another one. When he came, Jaideep, in neonatal, I know it's not diagnostic, but it is diagnosed in some way. He's looking at hypoxia, ischemic encephalopathy. And I won't go into details, but look at the starting cardboard prototype. It's now being tested in at least a dozen or half a dozen hospitals, and saving lives, right here in India, going for good standards and everything else. I'm sorry. Okay. Maybe I should have transferred it to the, okay. So, and we aren't even talking about scale. This is just, they are touching market, right? And I'm not talking about fish scales. I'm talking about scale of a different kind, where the last, I think, the last definition suffices it, right? How do you scale your enterprise? What is scale to you? These are definitions that you need to have when you are trying to, jump through the valleys of death. And, can I call you Big Daddy, Chandy? So, when Chandrasekhar is here, he's going to talk about scale. He's the one who has seen it all and done it. I'm going to show one or two more pictures from which he had said, right? Right. If your take-home message from this picture, and you can see I took old pictures of Kinney and you, Chandy, that you had shared a long time back. This prototype to that, right? And maybe this is the older version, and the new version has come already. And how do you do that? When people say product ready ho gaya, generally I hear it in academia, I smile, right? And that exactly is what it takes. I've got another 10 minutes, don't worry. So this is what my philosophy is. A prototype doesn't make it a product, but it is hope in real sense. ठीक है, आप लोगों ने prototype कर दिया, that is really hope. It's a hopeful future you have built. But whether that future, the product will go, enter the market, people will buy it, somebody will pay it, the government may subsidize it, those are the nonlinear, do not conform to the laws of thermodynamics kind of gameplay that you have to do, okay? All the rest, right? So I don't want to go through the slides. So, and then another picture from Chandy. I cut it out so that, waha, look at this, how the transition from prototype, this is almost different versions of it finally coming there. But again, Have you thought about scale in a different way? The product that you are sourcing from Chor Bazaar, I'm not saying that you are, will that really work when orders come floating in, if at all they come in, right? So all those thoughts, you have to start integrating at a very early stage and then see when you're going to design lock your product, right? Okay? And these are all part of values of death. There's one important part I'll come to. This we don't, I mean, this is later, and again, Chandy has gone through it. Where do you set up pilot manufacturing? What do you do? Automation, how much money? Quality control, your suppliers. We saw about suppliers' resilience and all of that in COVID, right? And this happens in day to day. Yesterday, he gave a very nice anecdote, and I think, Chandy, you must do that about at the dinner table, about the truck carrying the product and how they were searching for it. Those are real-life experiences. And when I embed myself with startups and people who have built stuff, I just love such experiences. When I hear them, I'll probably end up being a storyteller in the end when I touch 50. And this one, right? I think Arindam mentioned that. I loved that slide, generating evidence. But who's going to design your protocols? Have you taken expertise for that? Do you have network of those expertise? Can Path help you? Can Wish Foundation help you? Can Wadhwani Foundation help you? All of those you've got to start. Can you do advocacy? Are you part of an industry group already? You've got to start to thinking about when you want to leapfrog through the multiple values of death, right? साई प्रसाद से कल मुझे पूछा कि सर मैं आऊँ आज तो मैंने कहा कि आप आ जाओ एटलीस्ट मिल तो लेंगे राइट बट मोर देन दैट व्हाट Anurag said, get to meet people, say hello to people. Maybe you will learn from that journey. Maybe I'll introduce you to Dr. B.K. Iyer, whom I met now, or Manohar from Siemens. So those things are very important. Which one you should aim for? Public market, government, procurement के लिए patience है आप लोगों में, right? How do you do that, right? All of that will hit you. And it will really hit you, I tell you that. And you've got to prepare, nothing to be concerned about, right? But it's just that you know what roadblocks are there, that you should do it. People. Startups fail for many, many reasons. And one of the biggest reasons is people. I've highlighted one of the biggest ones. Well, co-founders will fight one day. Well, that's okay, They are like a married couple. So, but can you really look beyond that? Can you find a balanced ground? It's up to you. And that's where the role of incubators and others and mentors comes together, so that the fire in the family doesn't, bhasm na kar de, to the home, right? And this is very important. But that other one that I've highlighted is really, really key. I have seen that in many, many startups. Now, they get 3, 4, 10 million, they say, abhi to we can get good expertise. They will have the expertise, and they don't know how to delegate. They don't know how to talk, because with Chuddy Buddies, they have built this company, right? How do they start behaving in a different way? So that tinkering process of product, also the HR and other elements and people management skills, ye nahi ho raha hai, right? And these are very important. Some people just have it, but there's no shame in getting trained in those, right? Okay, 16 minutes, another 6 minutes. Oh, I again jumped. So funding, right? Paisa chahiye, you got to look for it. And again, I have gotten a lot of, when I talk to people like Chandrasekhar or even Harish Hande of Selco Foundation. Please Google him. He's an IIT Kharagpur grad. He came back from Boston in 1993, and started Selco Foundation to give solar cells to really people who can't afford more than 2,000-3,000 rupees per month, right? I think the definition of scale is heterogeneous. You define your scale, and you stick to it, right? And you want different kind of scale, that's fine. But once you define your own scale, You then find willing partners to fund you, right? Either through your customers or venture funds and others. But don't get, you can even change your mind about your scale question too, but it's up to you how do you define scale, right? And I would love to hear Chandy's views on that. He's told me many times, but again, for enforcing later. Okay, this one, right? So this is almost one of the last ones. So from R&D focus to product sales. Sales is not a bad word, okay? Repeat it 10 times. Okay. Sales is not a bad word. Everything you do in your lab, PCR machine, Kaizen kits, whatever you do, a salesperson comes and gives it to you, right? Kaizen runs amazing R&D in Europe, right? But वो R&D का कुछ नहीं होने वाला until your prof buys it, right? I know how we talk our sales representative. I'm pretty sure the way you don't give time, 5 minutes de diya, you pretend you're very busy, all of that. But that's what happens. So do not, your JIS, your confocals all come from amazing R&D in industry, all right? R&D khali academia mein nahi hota hai, right? And those finally come to your doorstep through salespeople. So think about them and do the, joining the dots, and you know it. And finally, the penultimate bullet, from less process orientation to high process orientation. That you've got to integrate as you move on. Okay, 2 minutes, and it's over. All right, what's my current experiment? So I've done this nationally. I'm not able to be, I hate the word tribal, to be very honest. But I'm not able to, frame my mind in terms of one institution. Once you work at national level, or, you feel for the country, right? But at a ripe age of almost close to 50, I decided, hey, you know what, let me see what happens, in academic environment, right? She says time is up, my time says 20 minutes, so it's also up. And then this is what I decided, and thanks to BITS Pilani, this is my last slide. I've decided to build innovation ecosystem at BITS Pilani across 3 campuses. So I'm almost like a Heisenberg electron. If you find me running, you can find me where I am. If you find me, then you know what state I'm in, right? So I move around in 3 campuses. We're going to build in cyber-physical systems. There'll be at least 100 researchers to 150, and that's the sweet spot, because if we can convert 10% of them to really understand that the prototype doesn't make it a product, I think I've done my job, okay? And this is an amazing attempt also by the government of India, which has funded all these foundations and TIH. And BITS is just, in 3 campuses, I'm really starting to meet people who are high energy, want to do something. Sanket's lab is that in Hyderabad. Sanket Goel, Google him. He just also became the Dean of Sponsored Research and Industry Research in BITS across 3 all the campuses, 24 PhD students. So that kind of set of people, maybe a couple of years, build some programs for them, and then see, what fire we have ignited again. So with that, thank you very much. 22 minutes and 20 seconds.
Thank you, Dr. Dash. So in interest of time, maybe we'll have questions over lunch.
Oh yeah. I'm floating in lunchtime, so just come over and say hello. Right.
Yes. So we have a minor change to the program. We'll break for lunch now.